Hey, this is Mike from Absolute Comfort and Son Heating and Cooling. We're in York, Pennsylvania. We service the York, Lancaster, and Hanover area for all your HVAC needs as far as residential replacement, maintenance, and repair. We're open 24/7, and we change lives 1 degree at a time. That's what we're here to do. You can get a hold of us at 717-814-2070 or 818-1785. Our website is absolutecomfortandsonllc.com, and we can reach 24 hours a day.
What's going on, y'all? Welcome to another Road to Results podcast, where we're all about uncovering the mindset journey. I'm Rhy, that's Ray, I'm Rhy. Either way, you slice that pie. And for those of you who are new with us, thank you for checking out the podcast again. We are documenting our 52-week coaching program under the leadership of Dr. Eric Thomas, aka E.T. the Hip Hop Preacher, in the UOU Mastermind in real time. So we're just sharing little bits of nuggets and experiences and things that we're doing on our road to results, so that we can let each and every one of you know that it is possible. So if Ray can do it, if I can do it, you can do it too. What's going on, Ray?
Anything you can do, I can do better. It's not a competition, but absolutely, man. Nah, dude. Hey, blessed to be here. Excited about this episode and what we're going to be able to talk about. Just, since the last time. No, we talked since you was enjoying the world. Mm-hmm. But yeah, now you back.
Yep.
In the Mercas.
Yep. In the Mercas, yep. We're back from Belgium, back from Amsterdam. Definitely an experience. Danielle and I's quote: "The only way to live in this world is to go see it." Ooh. So 2024, y'all, make a commitment to yourself. Definitely make a commitment to yourself. And today, when this video is being released, be sure, if you haven't already signed up, fundingmyfuture.net. That is day one, going down tonight at 7:30. And of course, we hope you all had a very Merry Christmas. Yes, a very Merry Christmas. Hoping that you had to spend some good quality time with your friends and family. And more importantly, again, as Ray and I are big believers, Jesus is the reason for the season. So let us just continue to bring his light into the world. So yeah, excited for what's to come, And this is technically our last episode of 2023. And we have a very special guest, someone who is near and dear to us. And we had the opportunity to connect back in Phenomenal Life, and even prior to that. And Ray, I want to just let you give a quick intro to our very special guest, and kind of not necessarily background, but just kind of your connection with our guest.
Yeah. Well, one, I mean, this I like to say we got a special relationship because we found out, I don't know when, earlier this year, that he and I are birthday bros. I look significantly better than this guy. You would think that I was the younger brother, but I'm not, by probably about like a decade and a half, maybe a little bit less. However, but no, just not only just being able to be in relationship with this individual through our community, but even on the personal level, and then just from the business aspect of being able to build something, and we actually got to operate together. That's what this episode is going to be about, is operate together in support of, Mr. Carl Wesley Phillips and his event. But, just as I've seen this individual just through the community grow, and then to see him deliver a message in support of, he's got so much ahead of him, and I can't wait to see him be a part of it. So humble, absolute beast of an athlete, gifted speaker, and he'll tell you, and they said it in our previous episode that we had him on, that wasn't always the case, but just the amount of work that he's done. I love the saying that he has behind his brand is just every day means every day. And he literally means every day. And his quick backstory before we did the Moving Past Potential workshop in Orlando. This man's flight got delayed, and he didn't get into like 4 a.m. of the day of. Like we starting Friday at 9. He got in at 4 a.m. he still got a workout in that day, and still came up and delivered just a masterpiece of a conversation, of a message, some instruction and some guidance, and just bless the people. So I don't take too much, because I know he every day means every day. He's got work he's got to get to. He's growing, he's grinding. So I just want to welcome Mr. Brandon, my birthday bro, Burns.
Hey, let me say this. No matter how you slice the pie, that's Ray, I'm Rhy is the craziest intro I've ever been a part of. That was wild. That was wild. And Ray, listen, when you got this much going on right here, it takes energy away from the body, so that's why I'm uglier than you. It's a show of other resources being redirected in the body. That's all it is.
I love it. Yeah. So part of the reason I was asking about Brandon coming on today was because y'all just did an event, and this, Ray, conceptually, I remember you had the conversation with Carl back in Atlanta at the meetup we had during the Next Level Speakers Academy, I believe, and then you just spoke it, and now you literally brought it to an existence, but it didn't happen alone. So Ray, if you could just kind of take us through what was your mindset then, and then I'd love to get Brandon kind of like being from the ETA community, having someone that is newer to the community, piloting these events. I'd love to kind of get kind of your initial take or even initial reaction. And then as you were going through it, and now kind of a reflection on what that was like for you.
Yeah, man. I mean, so obviously, it was, I think my whole demeanor going into the ETA and actually going to the live in-person events was, like I wanted to go just like, what can I do to give back? Like everything that's been given freely, or even some of the smaller events that I paid to be on virtually, like, what can I do to give back? So even Rhy, when we met in Phenomenal Life in 2022, when I met E and y'all just like, thank you. Is there anything I can do for you? And I think sometimes that's just like, it sounds nice, but I was literally trying to figure out, what can I do to help? And maybe it's, even dismissing what my career was before, it's like, find a gap and fill it. Like if you don't know what to do, find something to do and do it. So as the relationship and the more of understanding in the community, actually seeing people move, not just on screen, but in person, I did a few things for E, and then for Jamal, and then CJ's pilot. I just cut him a check to sponsor some of Trey's books. Like that was easy enough. Like you don't got to get too deep. But Carl kept asking him, and then Rhy, we asked him when we interviewed him in Mexico about, what can I do for you? And he, same thing. He was like, man, nothing. Just keep showing up. And I think that's like the generic response, like just keep showing up. We appreciate you being here. But I was like, from a little sense, like, yeah, Brandon, like he's been operating that pilot at certain points. Like I'm a literal person. Like there's no hyperbole, or like I'm not speaking in code. Like, what can I do for you? And finally, we had that conversation again in Atlanta. And he was like, he wanted to know about real estate. And I asked him why, as I do with most people. Well, why do you want it? And then I just saw something. This is what Brandon coaches, Rhy, you coach, I coach, like in the sense like, you need a coach to pull something out of you that you don't see in you. And sometimes you can be so close to the fire, the thing that's inspired, I think, all three of us. You can be so close to it that you don't even listen to the voices that are to your left and to your right, because they're so familiar. And I was just like, talking to him, and I was like, okay, what do you want? And Carl gave me a few nuggets. A lot of it had to do with like the family, and there was the financials, and there was just other things. And I was like, when does your book come out? You need to do a live event. And he thought I was playing, and I was like, do you give me permission? Like, I go, do you have a pilot in your corner? Like one that is yours? He said, no. I said, you do now. And then he was like, okay. And he still fought me on it like for about a month. And when his book came out, I binged it on the way down. I was driving down to Galveston. It's about a 4.5 hour drive. So I binged it on the audio. And then as soon as I got there and me and baby girl got checked in, my bro Brandon's, she is now your gymnastic niece. Okay. They was out there flipping together in Orlando, which was just a beautiful thing. But binged it. And as soon as we got settled in, I sent him, I was like, bro, okay, I'm not even asking anymore. And we went back, bro, for about 2.5 hours. And then finally, all I kept doing was just sending him what he said in the book and what he said previously in other podcasts. Because people think, we're just listening for hype. Like, now I'm pulling out nuggets, and I just sent back what he said. And finally, and I think Ryan shared it with you, he sent me a voice note and was like, I see it. Like, for the first time, I see it. And then when he said that, I was like, bet. All right, now it's time. Like, let's go. And then when we did the last Extreme Execution event, I don't think it was the last one, it was the one previous. We did the certification. I was at the house, and Brandon, that's where we got the term fellowship with the Phillips. Like, I was just there me and Carl were supposed to talk out some stuff at lunch somewhere and couldn't make it happen. So he's like, hey, just come by the house. And one, I was like, bro, like, I'm going to Carl Phillips' house. Like, this is crazy. This dude just be a guy on a podcast. And, but Carl didn't see himself like that. So his parents were there, just making homemade bread, some fresh, strawberry lemonade from his mom. And Tamisha was just, getting ready, making dinner. They like truly like just, I can see where his supportive nature came from. And that's where it was like, when we do this, we got to do the fellowship of the Phillips as a bonus. Like, we don't got to do anything else. But when he finally agreed to it and he said the date, like, he spoke it, I'm like, okay, now there's no coming back. Now it's time. Hey, build the squad. And then Carl, like, that had nothing to do with me. He just sent a group text. Hey, each of you had a significant impact on why I'm even doing this. And then I believe there was 5 of us that we started meeting every Monday until this thing happened. And Brandon was a huge part of that. Myself, because we all had pieces. Brandon being part of what he does and seeing that piece, but also growing himself, like the input of what we think it should be. And there was a lot of overthinking, as there can be. And but that's why you need to bring other people that complement you. If we're all a bunch of pilots, we probably wouldn't be on this. We'd probably be on we'd probably just be on FaceTime, trying to figure out a way to screen record or some nonsense. But no, it was just a beautiful thing. And Brandon being a part of that, and then not just being a part of that, but the planning, but the facilitating. It is honestly, I think we left at the end of that, like, how do we top this? Just the experience in general, like, even from us as the planners to speak it, to build it, to execute it, to review it, and just to be like, okay, what's next? Not just for Carl and this, but for everybody. And Brandon may or may not want to speak on that as far as what's next for everybody, but
we'll get there. No, we'll get there. We'll get there.
Yeah. No, I mean, there's some stuff, there's some background stuff, but yeah, man, it was just a beautiful thing. Like, that's what gets me going. If you said it and now we're in it, we did it. Now it's like, okay, I see. Like, let's move with some sort of urgency.
Hey, execution, y'all. Execution, right? So B, before you jump on, before you answer the question of like, what was your experience like with Ray? If you could, because not everyone knows who you are and what you do in the ETA community. So if you can just give a short little background of what you do, and then like Ray's experience, because I would love to know, what were your first thoughts when you heard about Ray even being a part of putting all this together and being part of ETA the way you are. So if you could just share with us kind of, what you do for ETA and how long you've been rocking, and then kind of what were your initial thoughts when this whole event idea came to fruition.
100%. So I've done a lot of different things within ETA. Current role is ET's agent, so handling all of his booking for all the speaking gigs. In the past, when we did more in-person events, I served on the events team there. So all your 120 conference, 360 ManCon, all of that, I was behind the scenes helping plan those events, as well as all the virtual events, right? The summits, the challenges, things of that nature. And then, of course, I also co-lead Extreme Execution with Brother Moose. So a little bit all over the place. I don't have a solid like, oh, this is what I do. But there's a little bit of context for you. But I will say, when I heard that Ray was going to be on the team to help facilitate the event, and this is just honest, I was grateful, because I feel like the flight assessment is one of those things that we don't just talk about it. We literally live that thing, right? And I knew, no shade to anybody else on the rest of the planning committee, right? But I knew their personality styles and their personality types, and I knew already there was going to be overthinking, there was going to be fear to make decisions, there was going to be, well, should the pipe and drape be this color or that color? And Ray was the kind of person that was going to be able to go in there and say, hey, here's the deadline. Hey, here's what we need to get done by this. What by when? What by when? Get it done. Doesn't matter. Is it perfect? No. Who cares? Get it done, right? And truthfully, that is what led to the event being what it was, right? Because for all the thinking and all the planning, I think, especially when it comes to events, for anybody out there who might be thinking about planning an event, the biggest thing is having a group of people who are genuinely there for the right reason, doing it for the right reasons, who are there to serve that audience. And then if you just get the basics right, you get a room, you get a screen, it doesn't take much. Matter of fact, Nico, somebody in the grounds crew community, him and I have been pretty tight. He comes to my Bible study and all that, so we've gotten to know each other pretty well over the last year or so. He came up to me after the event on day 2, and he said, man, I used to think that the event was made by the special effects, by the environment, by the decorations, by the sound, by the noise, by all these other things, right? And he was like, dude, this was just a room. And like no disrespect to the production quality or value of the event. Like, it was still great. We had a phenomenal DJ, right? The graphics were still on point. Like, it wasn't anything, crazy. But he was just like, dude, it's a room. It's not some massive theater that seats 10,000 people. It's not an arena. It's just a room. But the people in there and the intentionality behind it made that event just come to life. And it was just a beautiful thing to witness, for sure.
Man, I love it. Shout out to Nico Morales, man. Shout out to Nico. I remember Nico from Game Changers. So good dude. And yeah, it just kind of reminds me, right? Like the saying, right? What is the Bible? It's just, if we look at literally the Bible, is just ink on some pages, and it's up for us. It's up to us to bring it to life, to bring those words out into the world and bring it to life. So like to what Nico was sharing, was like, it's just a room. However, the intentionality, the people behind it, the experience of what happened in Orlando is what made it so impactful.
Yeah, and I think the biggest piece with that was it was intentional to not have all that extra stuff. Like, not just from a costly perspective, but like, this is not, we had to make sure that we continue to reiterate, this is not a conference. This is not a bunch of people coming up here to talk at you with some interest. And I'm not saying that those aren't, we attend quite a few of them. But this is a workshop. Y'all are here to do some work. So let's remove all the distractions. And as Brandon said, like, we are here for you to leave here with transformation. Like, we're going to have a conversation. We're going to dive deep. We're going to dig things up, and we're going to talk about it. You are in a room with people that are here to get over something, to get through something, to figure out why we're in the position that we are. And I'm not saying everybody was in a bad position, but there's some stuff that they needed to work through, whether it's personally, on the business side, certain things that may have holding them back in relationships. It was like, we don't need all these distractions, these strobe lights and stages, and let's just be here. Like, let's just be in this position. And I think one of the things, like with Brandon, and I appreciate you saying that, man, because Rhy's always talking about, a lot of times, people, if you just understand pilots, I know, it's on us too to understand other people, but if you just understand pilots, you understand that we truly want to get you to where you said you want to go. We just might not say it in the most emotional state.
No empathy. No empathy.
None. No. Zero. I'm like, what's that word? What's that E word? Emotions? Yeah, that one too.
Hey, B, I told Ray, I said, look, my job, it's again being with extreme execution and bringing the assessments to the world, right? It's like part of my job is to get the 88% of the rest of the world prepared to have fruitful and meaningful conversations with the 12% pilots. Like, that's the flip for me. I'm like, if I can prepare the 88%, because I'm part of that 88%, to understand pilots and to work with them in a very fruitful and impactful, meaningful way, then we could really get things moving. But right now, a lot of the 88% just do not vibe with the pilot, do not agree in their feelings, so many different things, too fast, too direct. But it's like, no. But if we prepare them properly, then we can have some fruitful conversations. So B, I know you had a fire session. I would love for you just to kind of share with us again.
Fuego.
What was the topic, kind of the messaging that you brought to the Moving Past Potential workshop?
Before he gets started, Brandon started it off with him being delayed. He literally got in at 4. I was going to pick him up the night before. He was supposed to get in at like 11:30. I was going to pick him up. Then he got delayed to like 4. I was like, bro, you on your own. Like, I ain't coming. But he used that scenario to start off his session. I was like, and it literally had me, I said it jokingly in our group chat, but I was like, Brandon literally got a later flight so that he can start his session off with, the plane had so much potential, but because it wasn't moving, it wasn't producing the results it should produce, but it sat there with so much potential. And I was like, yo, that's such a fire way to start. He did that on purpose. But Brandon, I wanted to, because I think that tied into what message you gave as far as how do you develop certain messages and kind of go off the fly and the strategy. And I thought that was dope. You can get into that or not, but I had to say that, and you can debate it or not. But I'm pretty sure I want to say that you delayed yourself intentionally so that you can start off with that absolute golden nugget. And I was like, this dude is a beast. From here on out, like, I don't care what he says. After this, it's downhill. It wasn't.
Man, that's part of the game, right? And I learned that from E. E's the kind of person where, you know, if he has something going on or something that he observes just in everyday life, it's probably going to end up in the message. That's low key, just if there's any speakers watching, that's my formula, right? Is I have, okay, here's maybe the core 3 points that I want to cover throughout a message or a presentation. The intro and the outro are always going to be stories. If I can find a story that's relevant to something that just happened or something that's real life that I know people are going to resonate with, all the better. So yeah, it wasn't a setup, but it did work. It did work out in my favor. But man, the message was really just, and this is kind of going back into the writing process as well. You know, I used to be the kind of person that writes out a message word for word because I was nervous about being able to. What if I lose my place? What if I don't know what I'm talking about? What if it just doesn't flow from the heart? What I got to know exactly, scripted out, word for word, what I'm going to say. And these days I don't do that. These days what I do is I have a concept in mind and I really just let it marinate. I just think about it, right? And so as soon as Carl said moving past potential, the thing that jumped into my mind was, and I don't know why, but this is just something the guy gave me. He was like, Genesis 1, creation. Right? I said, okay, cool, let's go look at it. Genesis 1, the world was formless, empty, void. I said, that makes sense. That's potential, right? There's nothing there, but it literally could become anything and everything, right? So that's potential. And that was the entire message went off of that. They wanted me to talk about confidence. I didn't get to that until like halfway through the entire presentation. It was probably like an hour and a half. We were 40 minutes in before we even touched on the word confidence at all. But it's the balance of what's on your heart and what do you feel like is going to serve the audience the best, and then however you weave in what they actually want you to talk about, even better, right? But it's those two things. It's the tangible stuff that they want you to talk about, and then it's the message that's on your heart. You combine those two together, and you got a pretty solid recipe.
I love that. So again, and I know we want to be mindful of your time, so I love to follow up with this question. You know, being that, you know, this year is coming to an end and you've been involved in all the different things ETA. And I do love the fact that you and Moose 1-2 punch. Hey, y'all are doing your thing with extreme execution. So what would be kind of your messaging, your reflection on this year for anyone, whether it's in regards to potential or confidence or just whatever your messaging is for the mainstream or the public? Like, what would that be as you kind of looked over this last year of 2023, moving into 2024? What is your mindset, and then what is your message for others going into 2024?
Man, the mindset and the message for 2024, honestly, it's the pilot thing. Like, that's what I've learned, is that I've spent a lot of time in my life overthinking. I've spent a lot of time in my life, you know, for an air traffic controller, grounds crew like myself, the notes app on your phone is the most dangerous thing ever. It's a blessing, and it's also dangerous. It's a blessing because all these ideas that I have, they get written down there, and that becomes the message. I was literally sitting in the airport at St. Louis after having been delayed by 5 hours, sitting there saying, oh, wow, this is crazy. We have the potential to take off. We got however many thousands of pounds of thrust on the airplane, and it's not doing anything whatsoever. This is crazy. That's a perfect example of potential. And I'm sitting there thinking, well, why am I so frustrated and irritated right now? Oh, because I'm stuck in potential, and I don't know one way or the other. If it was gonna fail, that'd be great. But if it was gonna take off, that'd be great too, because at least I would know. So I'm thinking about these things in real time. So the notepad there on the phone is a blessing, because it allows me to get those ideas out, in real time. Now, the flip side of that, right, the other side of the sword, if you will, is it allows me to sit there and think about, oh, if I did a live event, it would look like this. Oh, if I had a new business, it would look like this. Oh, if I did a new thing, it would look like this. And you just sit there and you think and you think and you think and you ideate these different things without ever actually taking action on any of it, right? So for 2024, the thing for me is just being more in that pilot mentality. It's being hyper efficient with time. And it's putting limits on how much we're thinking, and then putting quotas on how much we're doing. Usually it's the opposite, right? Usually it's like we're gonna cap how much we do, right? And then we see how much we can think. I want to do the opposite. I'm gonna cap how much I'm thinking, not go past a certain level or time expenditure of thinking and ideating, and then have a floor of you have to take at least this amount of action. So that's the mentality. And I think that should be the mentality for everybody, because truthfully, you have to have both. And the reason why that event went so well is because we mixed our detail people with our results people. You've got to have both. You've got to have both. And so going into 2024, I think that people just need to self-reflect and say, okay, what side do I lean on more than the other? Am I more on the think side, or am I more on the messy action side, right? And whatever part of that you're missing, you need to go supplement it with a principal or a person, like Moose always says. You need to find yourself a Ray. If you need a pilot, find a Ray. If you need air traffic control, find your Moose, right? Find somebody that can complement it, or you just put in a principal there where you say, like I said, I'm only going to be able to think for, an hour a day. After that, we gotta get something moving, right? So it's self-reflection and it's action taken. That's it.
I love it. I love it. I love it. It's boundaries. I'm hearing boundaries. I'm hearing discipline. I'm hearing execution, all of the good things. And just for the last few minutes, I'd love for our audience just to know what it is that you do outside of ETA. How can they connect with you? I know that from what I remember, there were a couple different coaching programs that you had, but I know you kind of got your hands in a lot of different things. So if you could just kind of share with our audience, if they want to continue to connect with you, work with you, what does that look like going into 2024?
100%. IamBburns.com, and then IamBburns on all social media. That's where you can find pretty much everything. Speaking, getting out there a lot more in 2024, just different stages, doing some schools, doing some more conferences and events, things like that. So super excited just to get out there on the speaking circuit a little bit more. And then from a coaching perspective, actually building some stuff with Mr. Wesley. So that's going to be a lot of fun. Mostly doing business coaching on that side of things, just kind of taking everything that I've learned from the crazy life that I've lived, both on the ETA side and then outside of it, and just working with a bunch of different personal brands and event businesses and all sorts of things, and just teaching people what it looks like from the inside so that you don't have to go through that learning curve on your own. Because I think even looking back at Carl's event, that was a huge help to be able to go into it with the mentality of, even though it's kind of a scary thing, right? First live event for Carl, you got to spend money to get the hotel, the conference center, we got to rent the space, we got to get at least this number of people in there to make it make sense, all these things. It's very helpful to be able to go into it with the mindset of, I've seen this before, we know the systems, we know how it works, it's going to be okay, right? So just teaching people that process. I do have a book on the way in 2024. I don't have a release date yet, but I'm currently writing that. And there may or may not be an event to go along with the launch of that. We will see, Ray. I don't want to hear nothing from you. I want to hear nothing from you, Ray. You're going to bully me. I'm playing. Please bully me. It gets results.
Beautiful. And then I don't know if I caught this or not, but did you mention who your ideal audience would be, or who your ideal coaching client would be?
Oh, yep. So personal brands and entrepreneurs, online entrepreneurs and personal brands. So anybody, and I say that because there's a lot of people who, they're like, oh, well, I'm not really a speaker, or I'm not really a coach. I'm not an online coach, right? But at the end of the day, if you're going to have a personal brand in any regard, you're still going to have to understand how to communicate a message. You're still going to have to understand my funnel. You're still going to have to understand, here's how to build a program. Here's how to build a mastermind. Here's how to do the events. Like, it's all the same if you're going to build a big personal brand or you want to be an online entrepreneur at any level, whether you're doing physical products, whether you're doing services, coaching. It's all one big happy family at the end of the day. So personal brands and entrepreneurs for sure.
Appreciate you, bro.
Last thing before it goes, because it is his time to step out. I mean, just because I love it, man. I need you to share the concept of every day means every day, because as you've openly stated in public here on the R2R podcast, Bully You, there will be a live event to go along with your book release. But yes, TBD on the date, TBD to be determined. But if you could just share that concept of every day means every day in every aspect of your life, because you're a product of the time frame from when you first met E to where you are now, and it clearly shows, not just from your strong bicep and your subpar good looks. I'm just kidding, man. You're phenomenal looking young man. But what does that mean? Like, what does that mean? Why people should start applying that now? Get the results now, but apply that concept now, and then we'll let you head off to do your everyday thing.
Yeah, man. Every day means every day actually came from, I was doing some commentating work for the Big Ten Network for men's gymnastics. And I was going into the studio one day and somebody asked me, hey man, I know you used to be a gymnast, but how often do you work out these days? I said, every day. And they were like, every day? Or is it like Monday through Friday? Or is it, and the response that came to me in that moment was, every day means every day. What does every day mean to you? Because to me, every day means every day. I thought that was kind of self-explanatory. So it's just that mentality that a lot of people say, well, I work on my business every day, except weekends. Or I work out every day, except when I don't really feel good, or except when I've only gotten 3 hours of sleep, like in Orlando. Or I work towards bettering my relationship every single day, except when she ticks me off. It's like, okay, well then you're not who you think that you are, because you do not your identity is not based on who you were yesterday. Your identity is based on who you are today. So if you worked hard yesterday, if you were disciplined yesterday, if you were dedicated and committed yesterday, but then you wake up this morning and you're like, you know what, I deserve a day off, then guess what? As character, identity, you are no longer disciplined, committed, none of those other things that we just talked about, right? So every day means every day is just about reaffirming who you are. It's not even necessarily about what you do. It's about reaffirming who you are on a daily basis, because your identity and your character expires every 24 hours. I don't care who you were yesterday. If you were a great person yesterday and you do some terrible stuff today, it don't make a difference to me. I mean, like, you can't be the Pope yesterday and then go rob a bank today and not go to jail because you were such a good guy yesterday. Like, that's just not how the world works. But when it comes to us, you about to get me upset, right? You about to get me upset. I don't have time for a keynote this morning.
Love it, y'all. Every day means every day. I think that's what we're going to title this episode. Matter of fact, every day means every day. And Brandon, we appreciate you spending some time with us. And if you haven't already caught the episode from Mexico, please be sure, I'll put the card up top so you can see the episode with Brandon's interview on the beach at Phenomenal Life 2023. So, my brother, we appreciate you. Thank you again for all that you do and all that you bring to the community. We definitely know that this is just the beginning. So, all right, B, have a blessed rest of your day, fam.
Love you, brother. Love you, brother.
Love you, talking soon. Appreciate y'all.
Peace. Woo woo
And
wee.
peace out.
My.
Bruh, yeah. It's it was, bro. It's crazy how that event, like, I don't want to say it's crazy, like, I think that's one of the things, like, and you got my brother, Travis D. Brock in here, and it's like, as a pilot, sometimes it's hard to explain, but when you can just see so clearly where this can go, you don't need all the details. But man, when I'm telling you, like, I got, we multitasking as we use, and I know my sister Melissa T doesn't like when we're looking away, but I'm interacting kind of. But just in the moving past potential group, it's like, okay, Carl's going through some of the footage, some of the editing, some of the things. And I was like, did y'all get, because we had them and we dropped them on, I think we put them in a Dropbox or something like that. But the testimonials, like there was a moment at the event, and Melissa could attest, like there was a moment, it was just so natural, but it was also comical, where like just the emotions were there, but it was like at the perfect time. And so we just like, hey, what we had planned, and this is where it goes like the pilot, like it doesn't have to go the way planned was, hey, we're going to get like 2 or 3 people and we're just going to come here like interview style, like what the workshop has done for you. Cause one GC, super reserved, not wanting to talk, so much in front of everybody. We think it's good to get that workout to express what this has meant to you. But the way it worked out, it was almost like Carl was like a Don and people were coming up to kiss the ring. Just because, but it was like just naturally as we were closing out. And I think I sent you that clip, bro, or Carl was, he was just speaking and preaching from the heart. And then, me and all my emotions went up. I was like, hey, I think this is a perfect time to get some of these testimonials. As Carl was like, oh, bro, like, this is real. This came up. But as people started to come up, bro, it ended up being like a testimonial line, just waiting. One person after that, bro. We got 40 minutes of people just expressing their gratitude, emotions of what this has done for them, like just this weekend. And like just that bro, that thing was so great. Like, and now it's like literally, okay, we had him on last week. Kyle on. It's like, okay, bro, I'm doing my event. I'm doing it now. Brandon, like we were literally having that conversation at the event. When is your next live? And then, they look to me. And I think this is why you get involved and you actually do things, because you start to figure out, Ray, when are you doing your next live event? And I was like, I ended up hosting as a result of Brandon did need to get some extra sleep before he came in, because Brandon was going to originally be the host because he's done it before. So I ended up hosting the entire event. And at the end, I was like, like, I don't know if I want to do my whole, and you and I were talking about this yesterday. It's like, I don't know if I want to do my whole, like a whole event, but that hosting piece of plugging in the theory and the concept of the conference and bridging the gap between the last speaker and the next speaker and the nuggets and what the takeaways were and engaging them. Like, I can do that. Like, I can do that. But you have to go through the process of doing things to figure out what it is you naturally are gifted to do. And don't be afraid to get out there and just execute. So, I mean, that thing was, Brandon got in super late. So that morning, I was like, who's doing it? And then Carl was like, right here. He handed me the mic. And I was like, all right, let's do this. Let's do this thug thizzle.
Sometimes we call that baptism by fire, right? Like you just get into it, you get thrown into it. And I think that's really one of the things we wanted to share as one of the takeaways is that, road to results. Everyone's results are going to look different. Everyone's road is going to look different. But if you're not even on the road, if you still on the sidelines, you're not even taking the steps necessary to figure out one way or the other, everything is learning. And so I think something that, for me and my takeaway of not even being there, but being so close to it is like folks from our community are making moves. And it kind of reminds me of that mindset of, breaking the record for running a mile under 5 minutes?
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, everybody and their mama started doing it. Why? Because it was possible. So I feel like the closer and closer people are to our community, the R2R community, and the ETA community, and the UAU Mastermind community, and the Moving Past Potential community, like we are seeing folks that we break bread with on a daily starting to move the needle via live events, via coaching programs, online courses, via online virtual summits, via whatever opportunities that they're doing. And so for me, I feel like the more, I think you said it before, right? Results breed results, but not just for the individual, for the community. Yeah. And let that be the takeaway going into 2024. Let our results, like I tell people all the time, back home in Cali, whenever folks see me speaking or traveling, I'm like, yo, when I win, you win. When I'm able to accomplish something, that's your accomplishment. So let's celebrate this together, because I am not who I am without my community. I'm not who I am without my family, without my culture, without all the different, things that contributed and poured into me. So I was talking to my older cousin last night, and I was like, yo, Mark, like, I'm not where I am today if it wasn't for you protecting me when we were out in those streets, because I ended up getting like this whole nickname, like the church boy, because I didn't want to join the fourth generation of the gang that my family was in. That's what they did. And for me, I was like, nah, something in my heart wasn't right. The way, street life just wasn't in my heart, but I was down with the family. No older brothers, no older sisters. That was kind of the environment. But I had to make that choice. And it was after a retreat when I was like, no. I can't do what they do anymore. That's not who I am. Internally, it's not who I am. And so when I told my cousin I was supposed to get jumped into the gang, and he was like, yo, I was like, I can't do this. And he was like, not today. I was like, no, not ever. And he was like, well, where are you going to go? I was like, church, youth group. And then from that moment, any house party, anytime I was out in Vallejo, they're like, yo, that's Bong's cousin. Yo, that's, Gil's cousin. Like, so I was kind of like untouchable because they knew like I wasn't about that life, but they weren't trying to take advantage of me. They weren't doing it. And so all this to say is that when I started to elevate and all my older cousins were like, yo, bro, we're proud of you. No, this is because of you. And the same thing is happening in this community right now. The same thing is happening in the R2R community right now, in the UOU Mastermind community, in the MPP community, in the soon-to-be IMB Burns community, and all the Breaking Formation communities, the Getting the Win show community, all of the communities, y'all. And the closer we are to that, the closer we are to the fire, the results, and, again, we're putting in the work where we got the principles. Every day means every day. Like this is how we win. Be obsessed with the process. Kobe, you're going to hear a lot of Kobe from me this coming up year. But 2024 is going to be an amazing year for all of us. So when one of us wins, we all win. When one celebrates, we all celebrate. And that's something that I've noticed about our community. It's like even in our accountability calls, Ray, we miss you at 6 a.m. But just saying, like, I was sharing with them, some of the things that have been happening in the other communities I serve. So just to bring it back full circle, I did that event in Colorado on emotional intelligence. It led to that gig I had in Indiana at the Lucas Oil Stadium. That same national organization reached out to me yesterday because I'm part of an accompaniment project where we are sending 6 coaches out to 5 different cohorts, which are 40 or 50 different churches, and we're working with church leaders. And they asked me if I would be open to contributing some content and curriculum on EQ. And then they even asked if I'd be open to being a coach to be of one of the cohorts. So 2024, right? Like I said, it's
breed results.
And now I can create, develop, I'm pouring into the content, and what it is, we're creating the curriculum, the PowerPoint, the leader scripts, and then the follow-up handouts, right? Like, so we're doing, which is something I already do anyways, but now it's like, okay, now I'm going to work as part of one of the cohort coaches in the space, emotional intelligence and evangelization. So guess what? I was sharing that this morning. Everybody was like, Rhy, we love the growth. Wow, from 9 months, how much a difference is made. And I'm like, yo, my win is your win. So for those of you watching, those of you who rock with either the communities we're in, R2R, ETA, UOU, Getting the Win show, MPP, every day means every day, whatever communities, we're going to put it all out there, because just know that the lineage, and I think I'm going to leave it with that, the lineage that we're a part of is something, and again, ultimately it's Jesus, right? I want to just be clear with that. But this entrepreneurial journey, the lineage that we have with the people that are in alignment with us, character-wise, business-wise, mindset-wise, like all those things, if you just hold on, if you just stay the course, stay the path, and you continue to reach out, continue to ask questions, stay curious, continue to put in the work, the results will continue to show up.
Yeah, no, dude. So whatever reason this is on my heart, that's my sister, the good bully. Hey, so there's a certain level of understanding. Like when if you're even watching this, you're listening to this, you're in that space of trying to grow personal development, whatever reason you support Rye and I individually, collectively, whatever it is. There's something to be said about what Rye said as far as he didn't want to stay in that pattern of becoming a fourth generation, whatever. We don't have to say gangster. We just whatever. Yeah. There's a part where we start talking about, okay, you're an information junkie. You're collecting things. So you said you missed me at 6 a.m. I'm going to get back into that, I promise. But I think part of it when I stepped away, where I was taking on so much, and I feel like I was building a brand even in the community as being, that real estate guy. Yes, I do it. Yes, I can coach you through that, but I want to know why personally. And that's even how me and Carl got the conversation going. He wanted to talk about real estate. I asked him why. Then I was like, okay, there's something bigger than this that you're asking for. Let's go that route. And you said this is all in support of our Father who is in heaven. He calls us to go out into the world and make disciples.
Come on.
So as my sister Melissa said, yep, everybody's sprinting, exciting, we're changing the world. That doesn't happen if you just stay inside the community. Travis, I don't know if he's still on here, but he does something very successfully, but now he started to go out and create his own thing to teach other people how to do it. I began realizing through being in the community that, right? I've gotten calls from other people. Hey, Ray, I've got this. What do you think? Like literally just they don't know what direction they should go. Can we do this? And it was like, okay, let's talk through this. So like, what is your insight? What are you trying to get from it? Let's go. But realizing that that is what I am gifted to do. So I have to go out and do that for people. It's uncomfortable because I think a lot of us are out here chasing the bag. I'm actually, as I've continued to do this, and then we started with Brandon, like, how can I serve people? But the only way for people to understand that that's what I naturally do is for me to go out and serve people in that natural gift. And then it will make room for me to open up and create the fruitfulness of that. And I've expressed it to you. Since I've started, I'm making significantly less because I've started to focus on developing this piece and serving other people out of my own natural gift and out of my pocket. But I know that's going somewhere, because it's what I'm gifted to do. So you can be in a community and sit there and be like, well, I don't know what's next. I don't know what this and I don't know what that, or just stay here and be hype on it, or actually take what you have and go do it. You're not supposed to stay here and continue to be fire in just the community. You're called to go out and make disciples. Go out into the world and make disciples. And the only way you can do that is by leaving the house.
Come on, man.
You can come home and visit. Bro, you can come home and visit. Bro, you can come home and you can visit, and you can come home every night. But you can't just stay here. Whatever it is that you do, if you're trying to teach people how to be editors and trying to teach people to move past procrastination, like we're trying to go from procrastination to production, and we're trying to teach people how to like run their own insurance adjustments and be like bring 6 figures home a month, not a day, Travis, not a day, but a year, but a month. Like people don't get that if you just stay comfortable where you're at. And it's not comfortable starting to cut your finances because I know I could be making that, but I wasn't fulfilled in that space. But it brought me to this position. So now it's like, okay, now I'm forced to, how do I leverage this gift to increase my earnings so I can increase my impact so that I can continue to grow, not just that, but grow my community? Because as my community grows, now, like you said, we're impacting them. You're growing this community. They create their own. People see the results of, hey, it's not that complicated. The hardest part is getting over yourself and getting over the fear that you had. And Brandon had faith over fear on a shirt, and just stepping out into a space where I don't know what's going to happen, but I do believe in this.
That part.
And I love whatever, just what, our art to our community. We're not trying to just hype you up. Melissa said, no hype. I know she said, we're going to change the world in 24. No hype. Kobe year. But whatever it is you find, when you take those nuggets, you take those statements, those one-liners, whatever it is, go do something with it. Get hype, write it down, whatever, but go do something with it. Travis like, I got my notepad. I'm ready to go. Go do something with it. Write it down, make it plain so you can run with it. Go do something with it. All right, bro. My bad.
No, you're good. So a couple things that I was thinking as you were sharing, bro, just inspiring all these different things. So number one, in terms of like what you said, the transition you're going through financially. So it's like that idea of one step back to make more steps forward. And so not all money is good money. We had talked about that in another pod, right? Not all money is good money. So, what you are sacrificing in this moment is only coming back tenfold because of the way you're pouring into the community. Number two, man, the Great Commission, what popped up and inspired me just in this moment was like, we think about the word commission. Some people think the bag, right? They think bread, financial commission, but the Great Commission is what we're going to receive the blessings from up top. When we go, because that was the first word, G-O, go. So, like think of the word ego, take out the E and just go make disciples. And I love the fact that this idea of commission, people struggling with wherever they are financially for different reasons. But this is the Great Commission because guess what? Like we say time and time again, shout out to Chance the Rapper, right? The prayers go up and the blessings come down.
Let's come down.
And they come down. So at the end of the day, the Great Commission, I'm just going to, again, adding on to this concept is when we go out and do the work and get uncomfortable, but implement the principles, keep the character that we had within the community and share that with the rest. That's how we grow as a community. That's how we, and again, part of my reason for joining ETA, I want to help my man get a Nobel Peace Prize. Like how many of us are connected with people who are on path or even have the desire to get a Nobel Peace Prize? And to say that we could say that we were part of that community and contributed in some kind of way. Because again, if what we're doing is not bigger than you, then we're not doing it right. And what we're doing is just for us and just for you, then you ain't doing it right. And I think what Ray's demonstrating is that he's like, I'm going to take a step back. And financially, it's not going to be what I'm used to. However, what I'm pouring into others, what I'm developing out of myself is going to come back tenfold. And that's what I'm excited for you and for all those that you bless, because it's just reps. Bro, you are getting so many reps. You could put on your resume, I can coordinate your live event. I was teasing Ray the other day. I said, bro, you were like J-Lo in The Wedding Planner. I was like, just making sure everything's on schedule, on time. But really, that's what we need. That's what people need. And I love what Brandon said. You need the thinkers and the results-oriented folks. You need them both, the detail-oriented folks and the results-driven folks. You need them together, and you exemplify that in a very, very magnificent way as we see the comments coming through about the event, all because that day in Atlanta you said, let's do it. And you kept pushing the envelope. You kept making Carl a little uncomfortable until he finally said yes. And look at what that's led to.
Yeah. Hey, and we already have our first event scheduled for 2024. But and it's the same thing. They're like, okay, where is it going to be at? What are we going to talk about? I go, none of that matters. Pick a date. People will go. They'll buy the tickets.
I think y'all already had how many sold? Y'all had like 7 or 8 sold at the event.
At the event, yeah, we already had 7 seats sold. Like, and it's not a full on workshop or kind of like, it's just a small intimate event so we can do some true like one-on-one work. But it's for a weekend. Yeah, it's in April. I don't remember the dates exactly, but yeah. So, but like, been having conversations. Carl is like, like I'm ready. Like, what's next? I'm like, well, we've already got what's next. Chill out. But now it's like, okay, we talked about overcorrection going from one to the next. Either not doing enough or doing too much, and we found out this year that I was doing too much, so stepping back from the things that were draining me, even though they were blessing me financially, but I wouldn't have gotten to the spot. But he's like, I'm ready. Let's go. Like, it's killing me just to be here to do the normal stuff, the day-to-day stuff that I was doing before. And it's like, chill. Like, we're like, you got it. Like, we already know, and we'll continue to develop this, but enjoy, where you're at. Like I said, expressed at the event, be where your feet are. Like, embrace that moment. So even when it's uncomfortable, and like you said, like, I'm not getting the finances that I was used to when we started this, it's extremely uncomfortable. It's not even like a little bit uncomfortable. It's extremely uncomfortable, but I believe in where this is going, what it's doing for me. And as people continue to reach out and be like, hey, I need your insight and your input, I'm like, okay, we stay here and let's grow this into something else. So even with Brandon, I was like, Ray, don't bully. Okay, yeah, bully me. Like, I need it. There we go. And I still need to go get that thing trademarked because, sis, you can get the credit for it. But yeah, no, and then before we go, but commission. So the Great Commission, the commissioning piece, as far as like military wise or even ranks and public service, whatever, to commission you as at a certain position, it's giving you the authority. So the Great Commission gave them authority to go out and make disciples. If you're in this community, in any community, and you've learned at least one thing, you have the authority to go teach that one thing.
Come on.
As you remain in the community, that one thing is going to turn into 10. It's then going to turn into 20. It's going to turn into 100. You have the authority to go out and teach it. But if you receive the commission, you do nothing with it, there is no fruits from your labor because you're just here to get. It's the same thing what people get up getting church hurt. They're coming for themselves. Realistically, you're there to be part of a family. You're there to impact other people by sharing what you've gone through and the lessons you've learned, and you bless them with your experiences. And then you realize that, hey, someone else is going through the same thing. I'm not alone in this. It builds that common unity, the community, everything that you need. So whenever you feel like you've received something and it's helped you, it's blessed you, it is your responsibility to go out to share that, to go out and teach that, because you've been given the authority because you received it and it did something for you internally. Now go do the same thing for somebody else. I don't care if you got one line. Go blow that one line up. How many one-hit wonders that came out like the 80s and the 90s, bro? You still, that thing comes out and you like, return out the Mac.
Return out the Mac. But listen, I want to add one little piece of that, one little caveat to that, because that is all true. And just using the word authority, when I always share this concept with young people, it was like, Jesus had authority. Why? Because of his authenticity. He had authority because of his authenticity, not because he had power, not because he had a status, but because he had authenticity. So whatever you take from the R2R, anywhere, whatever nuggets you take, breathe that into life with your most authentic self, and you will command any space, any room. Because of me, to me, I'm a believer that leadership equals influence, but authority comes from authenticity. And when we can operate from our most authentic self with the new knowledge, with the new wisdom, with all the new ways that we want to show up in our most authentic self, that is going to give us more authority in the spaces we're in. So bring that authenticity, but know that you are commissioned. Yes, if you follow the pod, all the nuggets that we've been dropping, all the ways we've been echoing the messaging from trait to the grace, like this is it. Be obsessed. So one of my words going into 24 is obsessed. Kobe was like, yo, be obsessed with what you love to do. Be obsessed with it so people think that you're crazy. Like, get to that point. And when you look at all of the most successful people, you look at their routines, you look at their mindset, you look at all the radical things they did, people thought they were crazy.
Yeah.
People might think me and you are crazy for what we do and what we, way we step up and the way we step back and the way, oh, well, we bringing that authenticity every single week, y'all, every single week. So, all right, last final thought before we end this episode for the last drop for 2023. And again, just be obsessed is what I'm going to say. Whatever it is that's healthy for you, whatever it is that you've been sitting on, whatever it is that, again, just have that sense of urgency and be obsessed with being, I won't say necessarily the best, but be obsessed with getting better every single day, because every day means every day. Realize that you were made for this moment.
Love it. Yeah, you said made for this moment. I'm just going to share what we already mentioned earlier. Yeah, so this is probably, this is the last episode that y'all are going to see for 2023. And as we go into 2024, as Rhy and I have adopted what would be Kobe year. We can get in the pattern of doing too much. And I talked about the concept of overcorrection. Like, we can go from doing not enough to doing too much. And either way, you can, and I shared like, on Humvees, on military vehicles, even some of your lifted vehicles, they have to have them as advisories, but rapid wheel movement will result in rollover. So if we overcorrect in any direction, it can cause an accident. It can cause trauma, it can cause hurt, it can cause whatever it is. But as you get ready to go into 2024, whatever is on your heart, whatever you've been sitting on, whatever you're getting ready to put into motion, like full motion, in this moment, in this season, just do yourself and do your family a favor. Just be where your feet are. Be in the moment, be present, understand that yes, you can be, as we talked about before, you can be both content and ambitious at the same time. Those two things do exist. You can have both. But understand as you go through the season, yourself and your family, you do have to sit there and you do have to rest and recharge. You do have to go through that little bit of R&R for yourself. But be where your feet are. Don't try to think about what you're going to be doing through the first quarter. Don't be trying to think about, okay, it's Christmas. We've already got to go to New Year's. Like, just be where your feet are. And that takes work. That takes work. But if you don't put that stuff, and brother, we used to be talking, man. I was like, what we don't check, others are going to catch. So what do you want your kids to catch? Let them see you be present. Let your spouse see you be present. Because if you don't check it, they're going to catch it. And they're going to carry that on. And then you're going to wonder why they don't have enough time for you later on in life, because you never made time to be present and be where your feet are in this moment. So yes, show them the grind, show them the growth, show them the production, but also be present. Embrace the moment because you were made for this exact moment. So be where your feet are.
Love it. Caught, not taught, y'all. Caught, not taught. All right, y'all. Well, listen, we appreciate you rocking with us in all the different ways. Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, all the different ways that you engage with us. Thank you for, again, being a part of the R2R family. This has been an amazing, almost 9 months that we've been doing this. 36 episodes. I think there's 36 right now. And we're
not including all the bonus.
Not including the bonuses. Yeah, we're about 40 plus episodes in. But we just know that we continue to, number one, we're yoked together, but we want to be yoked with you so that we can all move in the same direction, going towards the results that we all desire. So thank you all again. Have a safe holiday, a safe new year. And again, be where your feet are, y'all. Be where your feet are.
Inaugural season, bro.
Yes, we will catch you next year. And like we always say, don't just go with us.
Don't just go with us.
Grow with
us. Let's go. Love every single one of you. Appreciate you. Hey, 2023, we
Let's
out.
go. We out. All right, peace 2023. Go.